there's really no reason you should go hungry or get hangry when visiting Disney World. For a lot of people, food is one of the reasons why people like to visit the Disney parks. I mean, some people are literally just there for the snacks. But if it's your first time visiting, you might not know all that is offered whenever it comes to Disney dining options. That's why I want to share the ultimate guide to dining at Disney World. Here I'm going to share some Disney dining options, how to eat affordably, and some tips along the way. So let's get on into it. First dining option you can expect are Disney dining reservations. Dining at Disney World is so popular, especially for a lot of the sit-down restaurants that they have in the parks, in the resorts, and at Disney Springs. There are a lot of very popular restaurants at Disney World that people like to go down and experience during their visit. Disney World has some character dining meals, there's some themed places where you can go and eat, but also there's a lot of places that have very good food. Something I recommend, and one thing you may not know about, is you can actually make dining reservations to eat at some of the dining restaurants at Disney World. I highly recommend this because a lot of these places book up very quickly and you don't want to get down to your visit, try to go and eat somewhere and figure out that you can't because it's booked up for the day that you're going. This is something that's very easy to do. You can go on the Disney World website or the My Disney Experience app, choose the day that you're wanting to go to that restaurant, and it'll show you any available time slots that you can book a reservation for. Now, as I mentioned, a lot of these places are very popular and book up instantly, and one thing you can know, if you're staying on property during your visit to Disney World, as a Disney resort guest, you can actually make dining reservations up to 60 days before your visit. You can book out all of these reservations for your entire trip. You can do the same if you are not going to be staying on Disney property. The only thing is you do have to make your reservations day by day for the 60-day limit. This is something that can be stressful because you may go in and figure out that your reservation is not available. Have no fear, there are some ways that you can fall back on to find some dining reservations for a place that you might want to go to. Some places that are very popular in the parks are Oga's Cantina, the Star Wars themed bar in Hollywood Studios, or in Magic Kingdom there's the Be Our Guest restaurant. A lot of the character dining like Chef Mickey's in the Contemporary Resort are very popular as well. And if you're going to book a reservation and there's not one available, one thing that you can do is there is a walk-up waiting list the day of that you can either go on the My Disney Experience app and add a walk-up reservation, or you can actually go to the front desk at the restaurant and add your name to the walk-up list if it's available. Not only that, another tip I recommend is the day before you're actually going or wanting to go to the restaurant of your choice, look on the My Disney Experience app. They have a guideline that if you have a dining reservation, the last time that you can cancel without a fee is 24 hours before the reservation happens. So a lot of times people will just book dining reservations, hold them until the last possible minute, and then you'll see a lot come available about 24 hours before you're thinking of going. This is kind of like a last-ditch effort if you're looking to eat there, but all that to say, if you're wanting to eat or dine at Disney World, absolutely make reservations ahead of time so you can guarantee a spot to eat. If you're interested in seeing some Disney park dining reviews, I will link a playlist below with some dining reviews of where we've eaten in the past. Second dining thing you can take advantage of as a Disney resort guest is the Disney Dining Plan. Essentially, the Disney Dining Plan is a way that you can actually pay for meals before going on your Disney vacation. This is nice because everything is paid for ahead of time. You can be a lot more flexible with it, and it's really convenient in that way. I don't have a ton of insight into this because I've never personally used it, but I wanted to make it aware to you that it is an option you can take advantage of when booking a package through Disney. They do have a quick service dining plan and then just a sit-down restaurant dining plan that you can look at. So ultimately, I recommend going on the website, seeing what both of the options are, and think about the people that you are visiting with or the party you're visiting with. Figure out if the cost makes sense, if it's a good value, and ultimately, if you're using the dining plan, make sure you're getting your money's worth out of it. I did mention quick service restaurant. You might not know what that is, so the next thing I want to talk to you about are the quick service restaurants that are in Disney World. Essentially, a quick service restaurant is a fancy way of saying a fast food place to eat inside of the Disney parks and at Disney Springs. This is going to be more of a cheaper option and a much more quicker option in the Disney parks rather than eating at a sit-down dining meal. There are tons of places placed around the Disney World parks where you can find these quick service dining locations. Each of them are very different and offer sometimes the same food or different themed foods. So for that reason, I recommend figuring out the parks that you're planning on going to and look up each of the quick service restaurants and figure out what you would want to eat ahead of time and how much it costs so you can budget that way. Nice thing about having the My Disney Experience app is you can actually mobile order on the app at some of these quick service restaurants, which will help save you time because you won't have to wait in line to order your food and pay for your food. You can just do it all through the app, schedule a time slot of when you'd like to pick your food up, and it can really help you maximize your time in the day at the parks. I do have a list of my favorite places to eat at quick service restaurants in each of the Disney parks, and I'll add a list here in case you're interested and aren't quite sure of where to eat in the parks. The food is very good at Disney World. There's a lot of treats and food places that you can try whenever you're in the parks, but if you're wanting to go on more of a budget and look for a cheaper way to visit Disney World and cut costs when it comes to food, you can always consider grocery delivery. This is something I don't think a lot of people know about, and a lot more people are starting to catch on to as an option when eating at Disney World. This is something that I know I did a lot starting to go into my visits to Disney World. I always usually bring snacks and food with me to help save money and also time in the parks. So you can bring food with you into Disney World, which is very nice and convenient. If you're driving to Disney World, you may want to consider bringing snacks and food with you, but if you are flying or traveling down, there is a way that you can have groceries delivered to your resort or your hotel. You can keep inside and eat during your visit. If you aren't necessarily wanting to use groceries as the way that you eat meals in the parks, I at least recommend buying something that will cover a breakfast for you. It can help save you time and money in the park because you aren't needing to worry about where to eat at the beginning of the day and cutting into your budget that way. Another thing you'll want to do is stay hydrated during your visit, and water can be very expensive if you decide to buy individual bottled waters throughout your trip. So I always recommend bringing a water bottle with you because they do have water bottle refill stations placed around the park, and you can also go to these quick service restaurants and ask for a glass of water. So if you're doing a grocery delivery or driving down to Disney World, consider maybe adding a case of water to your order. That way you can have bottled water throughout your visit. These are all great ways that you can eat at the Disney parks, and each of them are unique in their own way. But if you're wanting to save some money when going to the parks, here are some of the cheaper ways that you can eat at Disney World and a full guide to Walmart grocery delivery if you're wanting to have groceries delivered to your Disney resort. Happy snacking. Let me know what you're thinking of eating when going to Disney World, and we'll see you in the next video. See you guys.